What's up, everybody? Hello, everybody. What's up? This is Gina Ifoe, the one and only African superstar, back at it again with another Unpopular Opinions. I want to first greet the customers of the AfricanSuperstar.com. Much love to everybody who's been shopping with us for over 3 years. Please head over to www.theafricansuperstar.com. Much love also to our members only who support this platform on a monthly basis. For you guys, there is a new members only behind the scenes posted today. So do check your community tab for that content. Also, last but not least, is obviously the lovers and supporters of the African Superstar Music Project. Yes, we have a brand new EP coming out in just a couple days. Yes. And a brand new music video to accompany that. Yes. So that is the news. Also, you guys, the platform is growing. We've had several new subscribers come in the recent days. I think it's due to my shorts. Basically, my reels here on YouTube have been reaching a wider audience, which is excellent. So you're more than welcome to join the African Superstar family, in which we talk about pro-Black, Pan-African, continental, content, truths, whatnot. And I want to talk about that today. Today, that's the topic of Unpopular Opinions. Now, if you're entering the room, please make sure you like the stream. My moderators, which are anybody with a wrench, please be mindful of the comments and whatnot in the comments box. I have turned on subscriber only, which means you can only comment if you're subscribed to my channel. So if your comments aren't appearing, that would be the reason why. Much love to the family, guys. I hope you're doing good. I want to talk about this Unpopular Opinions and there's a myriad of things that have actually motivated this topic today. I was watching a channel, which I believe it's called Catfish. And it talks about a lot of these internet romance scams and things like that, and people sending, substantial amount of money overseas. Unfortunately, it's happening a lot in Nigeria. And I watched a few episodes of that today. And listening to also, crime programs where when people watch in retrospect, they talk about the red flags, they talk about unusual behavior, they talk about jealousy. And what I understand is a lot of these situations, like I talk about here on the channel, they are part of the human condition. When we talk about it in context of the continent and Black people and issues that we encounter, there's a lot of fantasy that we choose to invest ourselves in, although we see the reality. The statistics don't back it up. Our logic doesn't back it up. There are detrimental patterns and so on and so forth. Yet and still, we choose to believe and pursue the fantasy. And that's what I've come to know. As someone who has kind of put myself out here to share the truth and be a resource and kind of illuminate a lot of things to my peers, I've come to the reality that many people don't actually want to change their dynamic. Okay. Many people are fully aware that whatever they are pursuing or whatever they are believing is false. So kind of to get into the romance scams, there are many, many obvious red flags when it comes to these romance scams. I mean, some of the obvious things will be bad grammar. People will contact you through social media, Facebook, Instagram. They'll send you an email. These people typically will have an accent. A lot of times if you talk to them on the phone, they have a foreign accent, but they'll be claiming to be an American or a British. Doesn't really make sense. They will not be available for video calls. Every time it's time to meet up, they have an excuse or they need money. And they're always having misfortune. They're always, a military man or a pilot or something like this. And they're always in a foreign country. We have been warned countless times, for instance, about these kind of scams, correct? If you have ever heard a warning about romance scams, let me see a number one in the chat room. Big shout outs to everybody here. What's up, family? Please hit the likes. If you've ever been warned about romance scams, or if you've heard any kind of awareness about fraud, do not give your money to people online. Let me just see a number one, just for context. Now, I will say that there are obviously vulnerable individuals. I would say some of the people that have become victims of these scams are elderly people. So they may not spend much time online. They may not know all the terminology, and they may not be interacting with many people. So, you know, they are more vulnerable. Other people know the dangers that are involved. They know some of these red flags. In the last episode I watched before I actually decided to make this video, the woman talked about how she used to tell her scammer, you know, I know there's a lot of scams that go on in Nigeria. I know this and that. I shouldn't be sending you money. She talked about how she felt uncomfortable, how she knew that it was not likely real, but she liked it. She liked the sweet things that the man was telling her. She liked this feeling, you know, of being desired and blah, blah, blah. All these red flags were popping up all over the place. But because she wanted the fantasy, she negated the reality. She negated all of, you know, her intuition that was telling her that it was not valid. Okay. Moving on to our interaction on the continent, our interaction in general with non-Black people and Western nations. If we're honest, we understand that the likelihood for many of these things changing is not very likely at all. Many of us have grown up in the system. We have acquired education. We have, you know, done what society has told us will bring us equality and bring us opportunities. We still have not been able to grasp that. We know countless people around us that have also tried the same things and are not being successful in those things. But because of our love for the fantasy, guys, because of our love of the fantasy, we are negating the reality of what we are facing. The reality is that the dichotomy that we are incurring right now in the West is extremely unlikely to change. Okay? Some of you guys are hippies, some of you guys are dreamers, and you're going to say, no, Gina, anything's possible. You know, all things are possible through God who strengthens me. You know, this is a democracy. I can do it. I'm going off of a track record of many centuries of those that have preceded me. You see, I'm a proactive person and I'm an intelligent person. So I use what has gone on before me a lot of times as guidelines, as the reality. I have seen Black people, you know, encounter physical slavery in America, for instance. You know, we all know that is a very real reality of what our ancestors, some of our ancestors encountered. We have seen colonization happen here on the continent and various other places in the world. We have experienced brutality, violence, totally racially motivated. We have been insulted, degraded. We've been treated in a condescending manner. And the irony is that these things it's not a time period. Okay, you know, I hate oftentimes when people, for instance, correlate like the Holocaust to like the slave trade. We look at the Holocaust, and albeit it was a terrible situation that happened, that is something that is restricted to kind of a period of time. It's now gotten to a point where you can't even say anything in regards to a Jewish person without that being deemed anti-Semitism. You can't even have an opinion about them. Even if that opinion is valid, you can't even talk about it. Their experience is restricted to a time period in time. Our experience has been perpetual in these situations. Yet our people will still cling on to possibility of change. This love of fantasy, guys, this pursuit of fantasy is destroying our people. We are literally being complicit in the destruction of our people. We are watching deliberate agendas targeted at our people. And instead of us taking strategic action, removing ourselves from there, empowering ourselves, blah, 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 unity, self-preservation, we continue to engage in the fantasy that these things will change. Here on the continent, we engage in a fantasy that change will happen without us being integral in that change. We have, billions of people here across the continent, with each country, most countries having populations into the millions at least. Okay? Which means you have millions of people that are either praying to gods that they don't see, don't intervene on their behalf, don't protect them, or we have people investing in governments which have historically also not done anything for their nations. Instead of them taking on the responsibility and saying, you know what, me as this Black man, I can do something with these hands. I can do something with this mouth. I can do something with this head. I can do something with this pen. I can do something with this music. I can do something with this trade. I can cultivate this land. I can help my people. I'll start with my family. I'll start with my friends. I'll start with whomever's going to listen to me. We know intrinsically that nobody cares about the affairs of Black people. Huh? Not the Chinese man, not the British, not the German. Okay? Nobody cares about our affairs. The very obvious answer is that for us to change things, we have to be the ones to create the solutions for our own people. We have to be the ones to initiate that. Many of you guys in the international community look back at the continent, those of you that are migrants, you look back at the continent and think, wow, it's this, it's that, we need this, we need that. Meanwhile, sitting in your European homes, sitting in your Australian homes, sitting in your American homes, not contributing, not even willing to put your money where your mouth is. And I talk about it sometimes on this channel. African migrants, you guys should be embarrassed that it's taking foreigners and it's taking, members of the diaspora to bring these things to light. I understand that maybe when you're here on the continent, you don't get a full worldview because you don't. You don't grow up in racism. You don't even get comprehensive education or media coverage from the West. Your family members abroad are not being honest. But once you come out and you begin to experience it, you see, that's when you become complicit. That's when you become complicit, because the minute that good men remain silent, the minute when good men recognize what's happening and they say, you know what, I don't want to get involved in that. I don't want to, I can't, and they come up with their laundry list of excuses about why they will not do for their people, why they won't even do anything. I think a lot of you guys are selfish. I think a lot of you guys are irresponsible. I think a lot of you guys are weak. And I think a lot of you guys are suffering from insecurity and low self-esteem, because if you had any regard at all for anyone who looks like you, and even if it's not strangers, even if it's not Ghanaians as a whole or Black Americans as a whole, a lot of you guys know youth. Either you have children, you have grandchildren, you have nieces and nephews, there's the neighborhood kid, there's your students at school, there's the children at church that you see. You see them and you understand that they too are going to grow up in this world. A lot of people that are adults are not taking on the responsibility of being, as Machiavelli said, I believe it was Machiavelli yesterday, the gatekeepers. You know, they're not taking on the responsibility to say, you know what, I want to pay it forward to the future, to these young people. You know, it doesn't even have to be major. You don't have to be here on YouTube. You don't have to be social media. It could be as simple as having some kind of discourse with young people, having conversations with them. I saw a comment on one of my videos that said, you know, young people nowadays are not receptive to um us teaching them life lessons and, you know, this and that. And I would definitely passionately like to negate that, because on my last visit to the US, which was in October 2021, shout outs to my hometown, Columbus, Ohio. I'm going to come through and do shout outs. So guys, if you're here, please do leave me something in the chat room. You can also support the stream. Make sure you like the stream. And my moderators, please make sure you are monitoring the comments in the chat, okay? On my last visit to Ohio, I put simply on my Facebook status at the time, I said, hey guys, I'm in town. I know several of my friends are educators, asked to include my baby sister. So I said, hey guys, I'm in town. I'm going to be here until, you know, such and such a date. If you would like me to come and speak to your class about my experience in Africa, let me know. So at that point, I had about 3 people reach out to me and said, hey, I would love for you to come and do a presentation at my class. 2 out of those 3 I was able to do because the third school at the time, they were still having COVID restrictions. So they were not able to get me cleared and everything to do the presentation in my time. The first class I spoke to was obviously my baby sister's class. My baby sister teaches at a school for, you know, challenged students, I would say, children that have a lot of issues in their home environment, maybe children that have had disciplinary actions in previous schools and things like that. And obviously, primarily, most of these students in the inner city of Columbus are, you know, Black children. When I went into the school, I didn't know how the teenagers would respond to me. You know, my sister's a high school teacher. So these students were probably, you know, anywhere between the ages, maybe 15 to 18. I'm not sure exactly. The class was maybe between 20 and 25 students. And I came in there, I prepared an amazing PowerPoint for the young people. And I began to give them this, like, you know, 30-minute presentation. And obviously, you know, teenagers, they can have short attention spans. They can be rude. You can have the class clown. You know, you got the student with the cell phone. You got the student who's disinterested, that's just kind of like trying to be a distraction. So I was thinking in my mind, like, that class from, oh, what's that movie with Whoopi Goldberg? Sister Act. I was thinking about that those kind of students. If y'all can remember those students, they were rowdy, they were, you know, rude and things like that. So I didn't know what to do. This was actually my very first presentation to students at all. When I tell you that I could hear a pin drop during my entire presentation, the children were so enamored with my presentation. It blew me away. They listened. At the end, they opened up questions. They were just fascinated. They told, my sister is Miss Gray. So I said, Miss Gray, this is your big sister? And obviously my big sister was so, you know, the way that she looked at me that day is a memory that I will always have. The admiration in my little sister's eyes when she looks at me, it's enough to satisfy me for life, because I know that I've done my job as a big sister to I've done my job, you know. The way that my sister's a grown woman now, and she adores me, and it's unbelievable. When I walked into school, everybody was like, oh my gosh, Miss Gray, this is Miss Gray's big sister, you know, and everybody was excited and welcomed me there. It was extremely profound, but nonetheless, the students were extremely receptive to me. And I realized in that moment that I was probably the first and only person that had ever expanded their horizons regarding the continent, and that it was something they could relate to, because I had I was born and raised in Columbus, and I went to, nearby schools to where they were going, and just to see where I started from and where I have moved in my life. But my point is that people say that the young people are not receptive. And I wonder that the people that are saying this, if they've ever even made any efforts. I am a motivational speaker, but I'm not a teacher, but the fact was, I simply asked my colleagues, hey, can I come and give a presentation at your school? It wasn't rocket science. I wonder how many of you guys have ever paid it forward with the information that you know. You may have young people in your household right now. Are you being real with them about things that they're going to face? Or are you sending them out into the world completely blind? Because you know for a fact that their education and their media and their government and many of their peers are in la la land. You know that. So you have details that can help shape children's worlds. And not every child is going to miss it. Not every child is going to refute what you are giving them. In addition to going and speaking at those schools in Ohio, I make it a point to build relationships and rapport with all of the children of my friends, children that I run into, so on and so forth. I'm like the favorite auntie to so many young people. And I always drop little gems in their hearing. I always explain things to them. They're not stupid. They can comprehend a lot. But the real question lies, are we making the efforts? Is the real question. People say this and people say that, but as someone who's actually doing it, I have a whole different perspective. When I went to the second presentation, it was the same thing. A teacher from a former church that I attended invited me to come and speak to her class. And her class, same thing, pin drop. They were completely enamored. They marveled at my presentation. And it just made me wonder, wow, we are dropping the ball with our young people. We are really dropping the ball with our young people, because I could come in and have an audience with them. And then be interested to hear what I have to say and giving me their full attention. And I know there's so many more dynamic people in our community that these children would also love to hear from. I remember that Dinah Samir did something similar several years ago. I believe he was down south somewhere. He was in town. He got invited to speak to a graduating senior class about his travels in Africa. You see, guys, what I'm trying to say here on this message is that we needn't wait for anybody to solve our problems. We needn't wait for other people to take initiative with our youth, with our future. What we should do is step up and step into the role. Now, if there's one of us doing, this and that, it's very easy for us to become isolated. It's very easy for us to become overwhelmed. It's very easy for us to become targeted because there's only one of us. But when there's scores of our people deciding to do the same, it's much more difficult to stop the movement. Because the fantasy tastes sweet, because the fantasy feels good, even when you know that it's fake. You want to do fantasy. You want to invest in fantasy. The problem is, guys, the real problem that we have to understand is, as we begin to neglect our community, okay, and as we negate responsibility for the overall well-being of our people, these people grow up and then become a menace to society. Because since they feel unwanted, and since they feel like they don't know where they come from, and they have low self-esteem, and they don't have friends, and all of these things, they decide, you know what, I'm going to lash out into society, my pain and my confusion. It's really in our best interest to look proactively at this. And instead of coming up with all the laundry list of excuses, and investing our energy in things that have never given us a return, never done anything tangible, processes that are not working for our people, no change in tow, then we start at the basics, at what we know works. We know for a fact that many of our young children are growing up in tumultuous environments. Okay, we know that. I'm not a parent, and I acknowledge and understand that. If that's the case, and we understand that it may be in their house, they're not getting what they need, they're not getting attention, they're not being fed, they're not, many things are happening to these children, then it takes a village. You don't even necessarily got to get involved in the details of that child's situation, maybe. But you can simply have an interaction with them that's positive. You can speak life over that child. Maybe you give them a small gift, or, you compliment them when they get a haircut, or, you show them some love because you understand that they're not getting it. I'm always doting on my nieces and nephews all the time, complimenting how beautiful their skin is, how amazing, their hair looks nice, or I love their smile, or when they say something, how smart you are, all the time. Just these small things. That might be the only interaction that child has ever had. They might not be getting any love and appreciation or compliments in their household. So if you do it to them, it's meaningful. This love of fantasy is destroying us while we stand by and watch it happen. You guys may say I'm so dynamic, and I've actually wrestled with that for years because, in my opinion, I'm just a girl who is aligning her words with her actions. I don't see anything extraordinary about that. That should be the norm. But as I get older, I see a lot of people like talking and do nothing. Now we see what's happening here on our continent. The diaspora can't look at the continentals and engage in non-productive behavior with the continentals because they're frustrated at how the continentals don't understand our perspective and how they don't know this and how they don't know that. We have to take it as a learning curve and understand, okay, you know what? Oh, sorry. Hold on just a minute, guys. Hey.
How are you?
I'm fine. Have you arrived?
Yes, ma'am. I'm in Ghana.
Okay, Aquara. I'm on a live stream on my YouTube channel, so when I finish, I'll call you right back, okay?
Okay. All right. Sorry. All right.
Okay, dear. Bye. My friend has just got in from Nigeria today. So we understand, and I would say at least the diaspora that's coming here, you should be fully aware that at the same time we've been dealing with whatever we've been dealing with in our Western locations, people here on the continent have been getting a different side of the coin. Okay? It's not any of our faults. I mean, it is. But at this moment, we can't look at it as like a blame game. What we need to look at is the strategy of the way forward. Okay? We understand that people here on the continent don't have an understanding of what life is really like out there, right? So how we can address that is breaking down the communication barrier. How we can do that is by creating our own diasporan schools that create the curriculums to make the upcoming students be aware, huh? If you're here on the continent, anything international is all the rage, okay? People want their children to be taught by American speakers, British speakers. It's a big opportunity for those of you guys that are educators, okay? And I'm not talking about making a school and using the pre-existing curriculums. I'm talking about making a comprehensive curriculum that lets them know. So whatever they think they know about America is not just what they see on a TV show or what they see on Instagram. They're actually learning history about things that have happened in the diaspora. They're actually learning history about what things that's even happened in their own nations. They're being instilled a sense of pride about their culture, who they are. All these things, guys, we can begin to do this instead of engaging in non-productive behavior and discourse that's not going to do anything. All that time you're spending in the church, I'm sorry, I just got to be honest. All that stuff you're doing, listen, you could channel that time into actually implementing change. You can actually see change. I think sometimes growing up, we have this concept that change is something that we'll see maybe in the distance, or maybe even something we can't experience in our lifetime. And I want to also refute that, because that is false. I'm a testament to being under 40 currently and being able to experience and indulge in my wildest fantasies and dreams. And all of this is a direct correlation of these steps and the implementation that I took. Okay. No hoping, no wishing, no wasting time. Putting my hand to the plow, using my mind to create, the path or whatever, and going forward. That's it. And at night, despite everything going on around me, when I look at these huge problems, I have peace of mind because I'm part of the solution, not part of the problem. I don't just sit down with a lot of you guys and talk about the drama. I actually used to get tired of that when I was in America. I used to get tired of the next hashtag. I used to get tired of them talking about protests. I used to get tired of them begging for equality and begging for people to treat them with human dignity. I used to get sick of people talking to me in the most condescending. That right there used to do my head in. It still does. I don't like people talking down to me, especially when I know that I'm doing more things and I'm more dynamic than them. They really have no grounds to be talking down to me at all. But you see, all those things that I got frustrated with and I got sick of, I then turned it around and said, okay, how can I solve this aspect? How can I fix this aspect? What can I do to change things? And then I also was realistic in the fact that I don't need millions to know that I've effected change. I don't need that. No. From the hundreds of you guys currently, I've probably heard from hundreds so far. Thousands have definitely watched me. Hundreds have corresponded with me by email, phone calls, consultations, in person in Ghana, online, about how I have been able to expose them, how I've had meaningful conversations, how I've motivated them, how I illuminated different things. To me, I'm like, I'm doing it. I don't gotta be CNN to do it. I don't gotta be CNN. Millions of people don't need to say, yeah, the African superstar. No, hundreds. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with what I have done already today. So I think if we could just wean ourselves off of this fantasy a little bit, because at the end of fantasy is disappointment. Okay. That's another theme I want to talk about. Shout outs, guys. I'm coming through. So please like the stream and show your support in the chat room. Okay. I'm coming through. At the end of fantasy is disappointment. Okay. Because in many cases, the fantasy is not realistic, nor was it ever realistic. And so when that fantasy runs its course, comes disappointment. But on the other hand, when you implement something, the end result of implementation is satisfaction. Because whatever it is that you are looking to achieve, it could be fitness goals, it could be financial goals, it could be a project that you want to complete, whatever. As you implement, and it might even be gradual. Eventually, you complete whatever you've been working on. You achieve the goal, or you start the business, or you make the move, whatever it is. You lose the weight, you get more fit. At the end of implementation is satisfaction. If our goal is to see things change for our people, wouldn't the end result of that be satisfaction? Wouldn't a better Africa be more satisfying for you, more enjoyable? Would less Black people being affected by police brutality, wouldn't that feel good to you? Would more brighter and optimistic and hopeful young people, wouldn't that make you feel good when you see them growing up and they're happy and they're safe and they're healthy? Okay, this is satisfaction, but this comes from implementation. It's not just going to happen from the sky, guys. You guys are adults. My audience is adults. Okay? Nothing is happening by hoping and wishing. We need to dispel that right now. Some of you guys might even argue that your prayers have been unanswered for decades. I mean, huh? You know, and you're silly if you keep investing and you don't expect results. You know, because why would you want to keep wasting your time and money and you're not getting anything out the deal? You know, investments are great when they pay out, but if you're just investing, it's a loss. That's what it is. If you're not recouping anything back. All right. Shout outs time. What's up, family? African superstar in the house. Unpopular opinions. Big shout outs to WC. Kuani, thanks so much for stopping by, sweetie. I don't know if you're still there. Thank you so much. What's up? What's up? Isaac Wren. Hi, family. Superstar Bella. And Stray Kitten is here. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Superstar Bella's talking about the romance scams. Dating 101. A woman should not be giving a man money from my dad's mouth to my ears. Brown Coat Blue is in the building. What's up, Lorne? Big shout outs to the family. Brown Coat Blue says, gotta lead by example because even our own family, friends, and neighbors don't believe anything without seeing it. What's up? What's up? What's up? Michael says, unfortunately, Black people in general just don't want to take care of things they are in charge of. We never think beyond today or tomorrow. I just can't determine what our problem is. We are indeed very selfish and most times mentally lazy. That's why most of us are leaving it to superior being to take control instead of being in charge. Big shout outs to the family. Christina says they don't care. Too many people are selfish and only think about and want pleasure. Janelle, what's up, girl? Shoshana also did some presentations. She did 2 presentations about the Jewish community in Uganda for a friend's Sunday school class. Kids are interested. So she's speaking about how, you know, if you take the initiative, which our people don't take the initiative. I've come to the realization because I'm someone who takes the initiative. A lot of you guys are lying. Let me just say that. I'm not going to say those in my chat room, but probably people that see this video, you're lying. Huh? You're lying when you say Black men are like this, Black women are like this, Black kids are like this, Africa's like this, the community's like this. You're lying because you never made the effort. Have any of you guys even stepped in the classroom, maybe where your children are learning? Have you ever done anything? Volunteered, gone on any field trips, mentored? And the reality is because, like I said, there's a few of us that's willing. You know, there's a few of us that's bold and there's a few of us that's about it. So we can get out here. But our realm of influence, we can't literally touch everybody. That's the reality. Even if we're huge, we cannot affect everybody. And I don't know about you. Again, I'm not a parent. But I would want to position my children the best possible way. So even if there was a prominent person I would want to influence my child or have an audience with my child, I wouldn't leave that responsibility up to that person. You know, I wonder sometimes, I'm like, do you people really love your kids? Do you care about them at all? Because why would you want them to go through unnecessary changes? You know, but maybe it's because for me, I love myself. And I think about when I was a young person, how I would really appreciate to have these kind of conversations with people that I admired or people that had knowledge or people that could save me the hardships. You know, that's my challenge to my channel this year. How are you interacting with the kids? Huh? I got a lot of professionals in here. I got a lot of world travelers here. I got a lot of entrepreneurs. I want you to give back to the kids. That's what I want you to start doing. That's what I want you to start doing. Give back to the kids in your community, in your environment. Okay. Again, if you're not confident to go do a presentation, you feel like, you know, whatever, you're not comfortable with that, you can start with young people in your environment altogether. I'm telling you, These local schools, from what I understand, these teachers need help, huh? They have more students they can deal with. They're exhausted. They will welcome a professional, whatever, somebody coming there. Those of us that are traveling back from the continent, I definitely encourage you, go to local schools and tell the children about the continent, please. They will welcome your information. They've never seen it before. They've never seen realistic images of the continent. That's what I put in my presentation. I showed kids pictures of Ghana, downtown Ghana, the beaches. I showed them my lifestyle, a couple clips and all these things. I showed them kente cloth. When I did my presentation, I came in traditional wear. They were enamored. They've never literally take it into context that you are probably the first and only person having this conversation with many of the people that you're encountering, for real. And stop arguing with adults, because a lot of adults are lost causes. They're already full grown, and some of them are just so stubborn and they're not receptive. Go start with the young people, because the young people are like little sponges, and sometimes they'll be very receptive to someone showing them attention because they're lacking it in their life. They're not having meaningful conversations with people. Maybe their guardians aren't interested, their parents aren't interested. God only knows their living arrangements. You might be the first person. I'm telling you guys, I'm definitely the first person having this conversation with hundreds of people. I learned that moving to the UK. Many of the people in the UK, most of the Black British, if I asked them, have you ever met a Black American before, they would say no. They're gonna relate it to what they've seen online and TV and podcasts. But have you physically ever had a conversation with one? They would say no. I was the first one they ever had a real interaction with. Consequently, those of you in America, have you ever met a Black British? Have you ever had a conversation with a Black British? So understand these things when you are beginning your quest. Okay, big shout outs, family. Thank you so much for that point, Shoshana. Bronco Blue is talking about my presentation. He said every single one of those kids' life was changed during that 30 minutes you gave them. That's the power of leadership. Absolutely. I can only imagine what, for instance, I used to love when they would bring keynote speakers into my school when I was a young person. I used to love it. I used to just be like, wow, look at this person. And I would be very interested to hear what they had to speak. I remember, our graduation speaker and things like that. I would be very keen to listen to them. They're giving me like life knowledge and, things that can help me navigate my future. Now, again, every student is not like that, but I'm willing to barter. There are several students that were kind of the student I was out there, but nobody's pouring into them. I really wish I would have had the conversation with someone like me when I was 16, 17, 18, telling me explore the continent. It's not what you think it's like. I'm someone who grew up here in Columbus and I now live in Ghana, and this is what my life is like. And I encourage you to travel and explore the continent. That would have been life-changing. But guess what? Nobody was doing that. Nobody was coming to my schools and doing that, having that conversation. Therefore, I didn't have it. Big shout out to the family. What's up, Nakru Mature? I see you there, Kimla. What's up? What's up, Vernell? Thank you so much for stopping by. What's up, family? Yeah, that's my homie. That's actually, you guys won't believe it, but this is a friend of mine from 2015. We met on an online forum. He lives in Lagos, and he's been following me online and everything ever since then. So he's just come to Ghana for the very first time, and he's like, hey, when I get to Ghana, I'm gonna call you so we can link up, and I'm actually gonna meet him for the first time. So, but I have done many video calls with him and all of that. So yeah, so that's my homeboy Jamal. I might post a picture of us for you guys to see after we meet up. He came for the Afro Nation Music Festival, so he's going to be here in Ghana for a couple of days, and he'll go back to Lagos. Big shout outs, family. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, Debbie? Thank you so much for stopping by, sweetie. Bronco Blue says, people just accept common knowledge without any critical evaluation whatsoever. It's a human thing. It's what makes it so easy to control the masses. You tell someone a lie enough, it becomes true. Superstar Bella says, I work in education. I heard a teacher tell a student, I have given you the tools you need. Wow. I have told you what to think about, but I am not going to think it for you. Write your essay. It's due Monday. Wow. Superstar Bella says, sometimes the administrators and teachers forget how to dream, and being lazy starts early. The reality is, obviously, if you are in that setting, being a teacher becomes a routine, and maybe, you might get overwhelmed, you might get frustrated with your employer, and you might lose sight of how you're really affecting the children and how you're leaving an imprint on their life. That's why I'm challenging my audience to do more as the lay person, basically, because I'm someone who believes in that. Okay. I don't wait on the government. I'm not waiting on anybody else to have control over my life. If situations are not favorable, I charge myself with changing that and updating that. More of us as a community should be caring about the well-being of our young people, knowing that the well-being of our young people is direct. It's the correlation to the future. The problems that we see among our people are not going to be changed by our age group. Okay, they will be changed by the youth of tomorrow. Therefore, that is where our primary investment should be. We should not be letting anyone else handle our children. We should take it very, very seriously what is going into our kids. This is why so many of these agendas, for instance, that are being directed at our community, this is why they're taking root, because a lot of our people will not sit down and have the conversation. A lot of us will not tell our children about self-preservation. Okay, we won't promote them to engage in other relationships with their own people. We don't promote them to go to the continent. We don't promote them to be entrepreneurs. We rather, in effect, groom them for the slavery that we are a part of or have been a part of. And that's crazy to me. Then, once the children create mayhem, or when they grow up and become adults and they're misguided, we then look at them and judge them and say, oh my goodness, their life is wrecked. Wow. Unbelievable. People on the continent will say, well, Black Americans never come to Africa. Well, whoever had the conversation to promote them to come to Africa? Huh? Let's be real. If it's not for social media and you're a part of my platform, how many people are having this kind of conversation with you in your environments, period? Let's be real. Let's be real. Did your parents promote you to go explore the continent? Huh? Did your teacher? Did your pastor? Any of your employers, your spouse? Let's be real. The influence got to come from somewhere. Now, meanwhile, you're probably seeing a commercial on going to Paris. You've probably, heard this and that and the other. You've been heavily promoted to do certain things, and that's what you do, right? So if we want our kids to do certain things, they got to be heavily promoted to do it, right? I remember, obviously, growing up in America, I don't know if they still do it, but I know, we had to do the Pledge of Allegiance every single day, every single morning. Okay. Throughout my entire, education in America. Repetition helps a lot of times. And the things that are very important and pertinent are things that we are not experiencing repetitively. There may be even themes that we never even hear ever at all. I never knew what options I had in terms of earning an income. I was groomed to go to school and get a job, like many of you guys. Nobody sat down with me about trades or starting my own business or explaining to me, hey, you're either going to work for someone else or work for yourself. Those are the two options in life. And that's the reality. Nobody ever had that conversation. I know for me, I would have been more interested in doing for myself because I don't want to deal with, somebody bossing me around. If I knew, okay, 15, 16, 17, then that would have been the focus. If I would have known that trades can empower me for the rest of my life and give me international value, that definitely would have been more attractive than going to university, getting these degrees, and then struggling to get a job, and then going through all the drama at work. And, but these are the conversations I'm not having. However, who I eventually became was a product of the repetition that I was facing. More of our community should care about the youth. If you have young people in your life, you should care about the youth. You should build relationships with the youth, especially if you know that they're struggling, especially if you know that they are having deficits in their life. How dare you? The audacity of my people sitting by watching nonsense go on and not intervening is unbelievable. Then you guys want to get online and brag about how you're educated and you're this and you're that. Well, in my opinion, if it don't translate into the real world, I can't really give you your props. I'm sorry. Because if you got top marks in your university, you graduated summa cum laude, but you can't figure out how to convert that into something tangible, you can't figure out how to apply it to real life, then it's no more than a paper, man. It's no more than, some more busy work they give us. Those stupid little awards they give you, oh, thanks for 5 years of service. It's like that. Your degree is basically like that. Because knowledge is not power, guys. Another stupid thing they say, knowledge is not power. There's no power in knowledge. The application of knowledge is power. Applying what you know is power. Let's just say some of you guys might argue with me and say, no, Gina, knowledge is power. Education is so important. Okay. Let's say you go to school and you learn how to fix toilets. Okay. You ace the exam. They gave you a little diagram so you know where the toilet bowl is, and you know the mechanism to flush the toilet, and you know how the plumbing needs to work. Let's say my toilet breaks and you come to my crib and we're sitting here on the couch. And you tell me, yeah, I got top marks in those plumbing courses. I know all about fixing a toilet. My toilet breaks and I'm looking at you and you're looking at me and the toilet's broke. Where's the power in that situation? If you tell me you're an expert in plumbing and toilets and my toilet breaks, I'm going to expect that you can apply that knowledge to fix the problem. So a lot of you guys have all this knowledge, all this expertise, Your psychiatrists and your headmasters and your barristers and your doctors and your big boys and girls. You got big fat bank accounts. You drive luxury cars. Meanwhile, our people are dying around us. Our people are wallowing in misery around us. Our people don't know the way forward. And you can't figure out any practical application to that? You can't figure out how to bridge the gap? I'm not a rocket scientist, but I know some of the deficits my people are experiencing. I know what they need. I know they need encouragement. I know they need knowledge. I know they need exposure. I know they need positivity. I know they need to see someone who walk it like she talk it. So that's what I'm doing. Some of you guys have way more resources than me, and you're not doing anything, and that's pitiful. So let me just have a candid conversation with you going into the new year. What will you do with your knowledge? What will you do with it? We continue to sit here online and talk about how our community's jacked up, young people, interracial dating, the continent, colonization, the slave trade. Will we just continue to have this conversation without the application of knowledge? What can you do? What can you do? What are you willing to do? Don't just sit here and give me hot air. Because see, you can't really impress me much. You see what I'm saying? In this day and age with all your accolades and your sugary talk and all that. I'm not impressed with that because I'm out here walking it like I talk it. And I can tell you, out of all the thousands of people I see online in these comments and liking the videos and blah, 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 Facebook, you can, there's not even like, there's a handful of people that are actually willing to implement something. To those people, I'm deeply grateful and inspired, but we can do better. There's millions of y'all around the world. Okay, start looking at yourself. Okay, start looking at yourself. Start looking at yourself for answers to these problems. Start looking at yourself. Did you guys hear me? What did I say? Type it in the chat. If you heard what I just said, type it in the chat. I want to make sure that you guys are hearing this message today. What's up? We got 20 of you guys. Any support for the stream? Make sure you're liking the stream. Hello? The answer is look at yourself. Look at yourself. Look at yourself. Look at the problem as if nobody's ever going to solve it. Look at like nobody's ever going to open your doors. Some of you guys are entitled. You feel like people owe you. Okay, you feel like people should recognize. Look at yourself. That's all you need to do. Looking at yourself is so empowering, especially if you know that you're capable of doing whatever. Sometimes on my journey, there's various obstacles. Sometimes there are people that present themselves as obstacles. And all I do is look at myself and say, well, this can't stop me. This can't prohibit what I'm doing. I've been doing it long before and I'll carry on. I refuse to let this obstacle or this person be. I don't care. I'm going to go. It's up to me. It's not up to nobody else. What's happening to our community? It's up to us. It's not up to nobody else. You might think the Jews care about your kids. They don't. You might think the Europeans, the British, the Americans care about your kids. They don't. You might have some friends and you think, oh, they really care, Gina, you're wrong. They don't care. They're just being there in the moment, pacifying you. Nobody has a deeper stock in our people than we should have. And that's just the truth. Therefore, nobody's going to even address our problems unless it is us. We're the only ones who can solve it. We're the only ones that can solve it. And the irony is, it's not even that complex to solve a lot of these problems. Some of you guys, the problems you've had for several years, if you really just use your energy and problem solving skills, you would solve it right now. You don't even got to wait. What's up, family? All right, I was talking today. Bronco Blue says, frankly, a lot of people, you can't even have these kind of conversations. They'll tell you off or tell you you're the crazy one or you'll get fired from the job. It's insanity. That's why I'm really promoting our people to go for the jugular. Okay, stop. Don't talk to your peers. If especially you know where they're coming from, certainly don't bring it to work. Okay, because when they get the taste and understanding that you're Malcolm X, they're going to be like, oh yeah, we need to get rid of her. We need to get rid of him. Okay, when they find out that you're Malcolm X, when they find out that you're Marcus Garvey, when they find out that you're the African superstar, when they find out that you are Angela Davis, it's over for you in the workplace. So let's not do that. Let's just do community. Let's start with the young people. Black men that are here on my channel right now, young Black men are desperately struggling. They need examples. They need mentors, brothers that are doing it positively. Some of you guys are the products of people investing in you, your grandfathers, your uncles, or whoever, showing you a different way, exposing you to this, exposing you to that. It's time to pay it forward. We see that our young people are struggling. We see that they are struggling, and we know what they're up against. It's irresponsible for us to just carry on like it's all good and act like it's somebody else's problem and act like, it's not. Trust me, it's not somebody else's problem. It's not. When that little boy who's growing up in tumultuous communities or household, whatever, when he becomes a man and he starts robbing and stealing to survive and carjacking people and getting involved in gangs and going to jail, and he want to come rob you, you're going to see just how much it's your problem. Just how much it's my problem. Because this is the circle of life. There's 6 degrees of separation. We, this is a huge fallacy of the West, which is we're individuals. We're not individuals. We're all part of a community. We all live among each other. We're all contingent that our community is going to operate sensibly so that we can all live and exist in that community. When people fail to do that, it becomes mayhem for all of us. I don't got to tell you all in America, y'all know, with these mass shootings everywhere, shooting in the train, shooting in the church, shooting at church, shooting in the grocery stores, shooting at work. Okay? That person who was around you that was dealing with whatever they were dealing with that brought them to this outlook on life has now become your problem explicitly. Maybe a conversation with them in the cafeteria might have changed their, whole ideology. Maybe a comment on their Facebook post when they were crying out for help in desperation and talking nonsense, maybe that would have jarred them, from doing something stupid. Maybe a little interest into our young people might change their perspective. Big shout outs. What's up? What's up? Debbie says, if someone told me when I was a teenager there's a whole world out there than New Jersey, I would have been a nomad at 17. She never had that conversation. Nor did I, nor did a lot of you. Alexis, thank you so much for the super chat. Alexis sent me some love from Brooklyn. Stay warm, baby. Thank you so much. I think, create skill. Repetition. There we go. Woo! Repetition creates skill. Okay? We gotta just stop with the nonsense. Okay, we have a mantra here on this channel, our mission statement, which is S&P, strategy, maturity, and patience. But this is the new one for 2023. Start looking at yourself. Start looking at yourself. There are some people that come on this channel and they want to argue with me in the comments. Well, Gina, you can't do this. You can't do this. I can say to you, start looking at yourself. You're telling me that I can't do something that I'm doing when you're in my comments doing nothing, telling me that I can't do the things I'm doing. So what do you propose? Huh? You're here on this channel. You see the problems. You know what's happening. What do you propose? You know what you could have appreciated, maybe, when you were young? Are you paying that forward? I know how influential it is sometimes when you have an interaction with an adult that you look up to. If you guys have any young people that look up to you, I mean, their eyes are just bright and unbridled with admiration. That's why I love the way my little sister looks at me, because she's a grown-up now. My little sister is going to be 33 years old in 2023. And she still looks at me the way that she looked at me as a baby. It's remarkable. Don't you want that admiration? Huh? It's very easy to get. Some of you guys are actually kind of like, I don't think anybody in my chat room at the moment, but some of you guys are even like deadbeat parents. I know this is sensitive, but I have to just call it out because I just speak freely. I don't have to do all that politically correct stuff nonsense. Some of you guys are deadbeats, and even you as a deadbeat, your children still look up to you. They still see you as a hero. They still think you're amazing. All the more if you're actually doing things in life. A lot of you guys are doing amazing things. You guys are interesting, mature professionals. You have experience that these children need to understand. I'm telling you, a lot of these kids, if you just knew what I knew, if I could lend you my eyeballs and let you see the way those kids were looking at me in those presentations. And I thought to myself, wow, my people are doing a very lackluster job at talking to our kids. Literally. This is what, if you want to be technical, guys, this is what a diaspora is supposed to do. Okay? A diaspora leaves from their homelands, okay? Goes out into the world. I got to give it to China. They're doing an excellent job at this. Goes out into the world, acquires knowledge, acquires skill, gets education. And what do? They come back and they pour it into their home. You know, they duplicate the skills and they take the knowledge to their kids and all of this. Why is it that in 2022, people on the continent have no idea about the diaspora? Why is that, guys? Whose fault is that? Why is it? Why is the diaspora not coming on the continent and pollinating? Why? Many people on the continent really look up to, you know, celebrities, Black American celebrities, musicians, athletes. Why have they not come back to the continent? Started schools, started fitness clubs, brought businesses, build homes. You know, why? That's what we're supposed to do. And so for those of us that are now the acting diaspora, we have come to the continent, we're traveling to the continent. We need to pollinate that knowledge to our people, both home and abroad. Because we understand that, for instance, even in America, the diaspora is growing up without any kind of interior knowledge about the continent. They're growing up with very little factual information about who they are as people and their heritage altogether. Which means those of us that have traveled and have seen the continent, we definitely should be paying it forward to our young people over there. I mean, I've actually not met any young people that their parents have moved to the continent yet, that the children don't love it here. I've not. I mean, I don't know, maybe your kids don't like the continent, but all the kids I know that have moved here from Europe, from the Caribbean, from America, they love it here in Ghana. And they love it here on the continent. You know, they like the warm weather. There's lots of kids to play with. It's a safe environment for them. There's festivities, there's music, it's outgoing. You know, from a child's perspective, it's way more lit here than it is in the West. All the kids do in the West is play video games. You know, I saw a little baby on the beach last week when I went for Christmas Day. And, you know, they have horses on the beaches here in Accra. So the little baby was riding a horse and she was just giggling. She was just having the time of her life. And I thought to myself, yeah, here in Ghana, you can come to the beach and ride the horse every weekend, probably for just a few CDs. Meanwhile, if you want to get into horse riding and all that stuff in the West, is so expensive. I mean, you might not even be able to have access to horses depending on where you live and all this kind of stuff. There's beaches. There's all kind of stuff that kids can enjoy here, you know? And if you see African children, you see how they're so loving and friendly. You know, if you smile and wave at them, they smile and wave. So I've been out sometimes and children I don't know have run up to me and hugged me. You know, run up to me, put their arms around my legs, and the mom will be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, it's okay. You know, they're so friendly here because it's a better environment for them. They don't grow up hating their black skin here. You know, I mean, obviously people will say, oh, well, there's the bleaching and stuff. I mean, I think that comes maybe as they get a bit older, but they don't see themselves as abnormal, is my point, growing up here on the continent. No black child sees themselves as abnormal here because they're part of the majority. Big shout outs, family. What's up? All right, let me get through these comments. What's up, Isesa? Make sure you like the stream. We got over 20 of you guys. Please make sure you like the stream. What's up, family? Isasa's late. Sorry, babes. It's okay. I'm about to wrap up. Sorry, they hated on you. They hated on you. Alexis says China is hosting Nigerian language classes while we are disputing diaspora and wars. Bronco Blues talking about the kids here on the continent. They love it here. They love it here. When we were kids, we spent the entire day outside. And even when Nintendo and Sega came around, after a while, the parents would just throw you out the house anyway. Wasn't no sitting around all day. So that's my topic today, guys. I want, obviously all I ever talk about here on this channel is a call to action. I need more of you guys to be responsible and integral in the change that we want to see. Okay? And stop regurgitating this nonsense. Like, for instance, knowledge is power. Stop telling your kids that, because that's a lie. I just gave you an example about how knowledge, if knowledge is not applied, it's not powerful. So let's not tell the story of anything different. Okay? I always think to myself, the charge I give myself, what's up, Drina Star? When I look at my problems, I charge myself that I'm capable to solve my problem. I'm capable, I'm smart, I'm world traveled, I'm a business owner, blah, blah, I'm resourceful. I look at all these things and I think, no, Gina, you can do it. You can figure it out, okay? You might need to take some time to work out all the details and blah, 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 but you can certainly come up with something to address the problems that you are being confronted with, and that is exactly the perspective that we should take and the perspective that we should convey to our kids. Listen, the goal in life is to be able to solve your own problems. Whatever knowledge you're acquiring in the world, if it can help you do those basic things. Just imagine you're a Nobel Peace Prize winner and you can't boil rice. You don't know how to feed yourself. Okay? Just imagine you are a Nobel Peace Prize winner and you have a newborn and you don't know how to change a diaper. What is all that knowledge about? You can't do the basic things in life. Those of us that consider ourselves educated and all that, guys, if we can't help our people, what is it worth? If we can't have a simple conversation with a young person and begin to pour into that young person, what is it worth? You might have lots of money in your bank account, but if your life is not what's up, if you're not happy with your life, you can't solve your problems, what is it worth? That DJ Twitch, I'm going to talk about him next. I've been meaning to do a live stream about a couple weeks about it. But here's an example. A famous person with lots of money, married, supposedly happy with children. With all that you got going on for yourself, you can't solve your own problems. I would say that you can't fail. Even with this mental illness stuff that's abundant, I'm going to say there are things that you can do proactively to address your mental well-being. If you agree with that statement, let me see a number 2. There are things you can do proactively to address your mental well-being. Okay? If you take more control and responsibility in your life over your own affairs, you would be amazed at how you can change them. I'll give you one example and then I will close out. Thanks for the family backing me up with some support in the chat room. I often tell you guys that, something that I get frustrated about is the way people talk to me in the West. I happen to think quite confidently about myself. I mean, a lot of that is directly derived from my track record. I mean, I've done some amazing things and I'm not shy about those things because I've worked hard to achieve them. And so I feel good. I feel like I'm attractive. I feel like I'm smart. I feel like I'm, capable. I'm a world traveler. The list goes on and on and on. I realized that by being degraded on a daily basis or a very frequent basis in these environments, it affects my self-esteem, like it affects your self-esteem. Okay. Obviously, I know I got some big professionals in here. I got some BSNs. I got some doctors. I got some IT analysts and, whatever. All y'all doing what you're doing. We got a lot of medical professionals. Now, you obviously, these things are meant to enhance you to a point. You feel accomplished when you get, for instance, your educational goals met and things like that. As you're degraded on a daily basis, as your professional knowledge is disregarded and you're mistreated and you're disrespected, it begins to chip down at the way you see yourself. This is why so many of our people are in a low self-esteem situation. Okay, this one's for the ladies. Okay. Now, when, for instance, the ladies, let's say you're very beautiful and attractive. Like, this is not excluding anyone else. Okay, please, I beg. Kimla is very beautiful and attractive. You guys can see her smiley face from her avatar. Alexis, very beautiful and attractive. She has a channel here. She's very, very attractive. Good looking girl. Let's see, who else do we got in our chat room? So you can't really see. That's not her picture, I don't think. She's very good looking. I've actually met her in person here in Ghana. We have a host of other ladies. Some of you guys ain't on your avatar. Sorry, I would give you compliments, but sorry. Jarena Starr, she's another one. She's got a channel, very attractive lady. The point is that when you are very, very attractive, for instance, okay, you go to the gym, you make sure your hair is always taken care of. You might go to the salon, you do your nails, you take care of your skin, you wear nice clothes, you smell good. You have confidence. Let's say you walk out the door, you're like, yeah, I'm killing it today. I'm just killing it. Okay. What would actually, there's two scenarios that could happen to you in this situation. Okay. I'm giving an example here. Let's say Alexis is out in Brooklyn. Y'all know she's from Brooklyn. She's out in Brooklyn. She sees this fine dude. I don't know what Alexis' type is. Okay. But y'all know my type. Tall, dark skin, beard, muscles. So we're just going to assume this guy looks like my type. He's there and Alexis sees him. She's killing it. She came out the door. She's like, pop, bow, I'm killing it, or whatever. Now, this dude, she likes the dude. She's attracted to the dude. She caught his eye, or he caught her eye, or whatever. Now, he says to her, wow, good morning. How are you doing? You know what I mean? I like your dress. You smell good. You look good. Instantly, Alexis is hyped. She's like, woo! Yes, I knew it. Yes. Tell it. Tell the story. Yes, I'm all of that. Now imagine Alexis now sees the dude. This is the second scenario. Okay. She sees the dude and she's trying to get eye contact. The dude's ignoring her, or even worse, the dude insults her and say, you know what? I don't like your perfume. You stink. You think you hot. You think you all that. I don't like your hairstyle. You know what I'm saying? You need to get a weave in or whatever. So instantly you got scenarios there. Okay. Now, Alexis, her confidence can be enhanced by what? The person that she's interested in engaging with her in a positive way. Or her confidence can, maybe take a hit if this person gives her a negative response. I use this example because this is what happens to our people in those environments. Okay, in those environments, every day they're chipping down at our capabilities. Professionally, we're looking at ourselves. Something's wrong. Why am I not getting that promotion? Why am I having such a difficult time? Why am I not hitting my financial goals? Why are they giving me so much drama in this workplace? When it comes to socially, you're looking at yourself. Gosh, I don't have any friends. I can't have a relationship. I really want a family. I want to settle down. These things begin to impact on you and it affects your mental well-being. Before you know it, you're in a hole of depression. You're in low self-esteem. Now this is having other effects. Now you let your appearance go. Maybe you gain weight or you stop, your hygiene takes a hit or whatever. Being proactive says, man, this environment is affecting my mental well-being. Okay. I don't like who I am when I'm here. I don't like how I feel. I don't like how they treat me. I don't like the sense of hopelessness. Instantly, a lot of you guys that view me always remark on it. I know Jarena Star always remarks on it. When I'm on the continent, the instant change to my demeanor. The instant change to my demeanor. Why? Because I'm in an environment that is supportive for me. You know, when I go in the community, I'm treated with respect. I don't get bad service in the shops or at the restaurants. You know, people are complimentary. People are friendly. You know, I've been able to create relationships here. I've got friends with locals. I've got friends with diasporans. You know, I get to have a more personal life, and I love that. I live in the warm climate where I can wear the clothes I want to wear and have access to the beach. All this stuff is supportive of my mental well-being, being in its optimal place. The same way that Mr. Beard said what's up to Alexis, and it gave her that boost. You know, this is why, for instance, ladies come here to the continent. I mean, sometimes it's not good because they can get scammed. But, you know, somebody pays them a little attention. Somebody says, I like that dress. Oh, you know, I like your hair, you know. And next thing you know, she's doing a lot of things for that man, all because he complimented her. He made her feel good. He paid her some attention. It's a known fact that this kind of interaction is going to impact your mental well-being. Some of you guys that are suffering from depression, mental illness, and all this low self-esteem, changing your environment may be the necessary answer. Okay? And I don't encourage you to sit back and do nothing. Take control. Because I personally believe that fluctuations in your mental well-being is very normal. Okay? It's called emotions. Some days you wake up happy. Some days you wake up sad. Some days you're having a good day. Something happens, changes the dichotomy. Fluctuations are normal, but they shouldn't dictate your whole world. And if you are perpetually in a low vibration, day after day after day after day after day after day, it just never changes, then you need to start looking at the broader perspective of how can I change this? Because you absolutely have power. You absolutely have power to begin to address the things that are confronting you. I speak to you as an example. The way I feel when I'm outside in the West is notably different than the way I feel when I'm here in Ghana. The anger, the frustration, the exhaustion that I experience out there, I don't even deal with those emotions here on the continent. You know, the helplessness, feeling like, oh God, what can I do about this? We need to turn all of our energy on to what can we do with this? You know, the question I asked the chat room, you know, the new mantra for 2023, huh? Look at yourself. Look at yourself. At the end of the day, your problem is not my problem. My problem is not your problem. You should have interest in resolving your own problems. What can you do? What can you do right now to address something that you're facing? What can you do? I don't know. I'm not in your house. I don't know what is going on in your world. And don't feel bad because I can't fix it. You have to take the initiative of fixing your own stuff. Okay? Excellent. Brown coat blue, taking the initiative. He says, this is actually such an important part of the conversation. I've been making it a point to greet and compliment every sis I can when I go out, when I go to the grocery, gas station, or anywhere else. We need to build each other up. I've had so many great conversations and met so many people doing it. These mental games they're doing on us needs a counter. Absolutely. What's up, ATM Temp? And I think this is a great place to wrap up the conversation, but my charge, obviously, to my audience is, as always, the same. Stop looking to the next person or next thing to solve your problem and begin to do what you can where you are. If more of us are doing what we can where we are, they cannot stop us. They cannot shut us up. They cannot stop our influence. You know, if I'm talking to people in schools in Ohio and Kim's talking to people in schools in Texas and Alexis is talking to kids in schools in New York City, Brooklyn, you know, something happens in my channel, they take my channel, Kim's still doing it in Texas, Alexis still doing it in New York. You see, that's one of the ways I was able to, you know, quickly communicate with a lot of you guys when my platform went down, was because I have, you know, relationships with a lot of other Black YouTubers. So I was able to, hey, let me come on your platform. Went on this channel, went on that channel to get the word out. People coming in my comments, oh, I saw you on Dynast, I saw you here, I saw you, blah, blah. Okay, that's the power of creating the branches. You know, it can't just be left to one or two, guys. The problem is so vast. It requires the attention of a lot of us to begin to address it. We don't need to have discussions with any more adults unless they are like-minded. You start having that conversation with them and you see the way it's going down, don't waste your breath. Go to the young people. They're way more receptive and they will appreciate it more. You can be the first and only person who's planting these seeds in their mind. And trust me, kids kids remember. They remember. They remember. They remember. The same way maybe you remember having a powerful interaction with someone, an adult, when you were growing up, how that, you know, impacted you. So anyway, family, be encouraged. I obviously, you know, my friend is here from Ghana, here from Nigeria, so I'm going to call him back. I'm also going for tilapia and banku tonight. Yes. Can't wait. So big shout outs to the African Superstar family. If you are not subscribed to our channel, please do. This was a subscriber only chat. So if your comments aren't showing up, that's why. Just hit the subscribe. Also members only. There's a new members only vlog that got put up today. The behind the scenes of my upcoming music video dropping on New Year's Day. Yes. So that's coming up soon, and the album will be available on bandcamp.com. 6 tracks, 3 of them already released, 3 new tracks, so you won't want to miss it. Okay? All right, family. Until we meet again, stay Black and true. If you ain't Black, just stay true.